Inter Miami with a big one coming up this weekend. The Columbus Crew at Cleveland Browns Stadium up in my neck of the woods, my hometown. Should tell Lionel Messi a couple spots to go to when he's in Cleveland. Welcome on in, everybody. West Palm FC. Got a lot to discuss today. I mentioned Inter Miami and the Columbus Crew, but I got to say, my Manchester United Devils, man. My Red Devils, one of the best soccer games you'll ever see. I've been watching soccer intently and closely since realistically about 2008. And I know Damian Perez and our good buddies, Damian Perez and Elias Bustamante, have as well here on the program. I'm interested to get their thoughts on exactly how good that game was and how good the end of that game of Manchester United and Lyon was over at Old Trafford yesterday. And also, Elias Bustamante's Arsenal is a team of destiny. We'll talk a little later on about that. But boys, happy Friday. What's going on?
Happy Friday, guys. Happy Friday. It's
Happy Friday. Crazy week. Crazy week. A lot of action.
Yeah, crazy week of soccer. One of the best weeks you'll get all season long. I mean, just gearing down towards the nitty and gritty parts of league play. Not only league play, but these cups too, these Champions Cups on the European side. Obviously, we got the CONCACAF Champions Cup coming up. I believe first fixture for Inter Miami, April 24th, boys. Coming up next couple Wednesdays from now. So going to be looking forward to seeing Inter Miami in that. Let's quickly touch on Inter Miami, though, boys, because we're in a bit of a spell in the MLS, if you could call it that. You're still getting points. Like, I've talked to a couple of frustrated Inter Miami fans, boys, and it's like, I had to
bring a long season.
I had to bring them back down to earth. It's a long season. You're not going to win every single fixture. I talked to Jake Zivin as well, who covers the MLS. He's the lead play-by-play man for Apple TV, and he laughed when I told him that, like, Inter Miami fans a little frustrated with the form of the team. He started laughing.
If this is the lowest point of the season, Inter Miami's still undefeated in MLS competition.
Right.
I'll take it.
And I was talking to a couple people too that follow the team closely. It's like you already did the whole most points in the league thing. In American football, that doesn't win you anything.
Right.
You got to go.
We saw that last year.
Got to go and win the playoffs. So listen, if Inter Miami's goal is to, I think coast along might be the wrong word, but to get enough points to be high enough and to make the playoffs and make a run, fair play to that. I really don't necessarily have a problem with that.
Similar to how they say in the NBA, I think it was LeBron that said it, this is not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yeah.
And that's the case for Inter Miami, more so because you got players like Messi, who's 37, Luis Suarez, who's 38. So, I mean, in the course of a long season, the important part is to get those players healthy, in form for the playoffs. That's the key.
Right.
That's what'll win.
And Elias Suarez has been playing a lot. Alba's been playing a lot. Jordi Alba was left out of the starting 11 the last MLS fixture.
Yeah, 100%. And I know for a fact this weekend we're going to see some rotations in different positions of the game for Inter Miami. Not only that, they've been playing a lot. For example, Suarez, he's been playing a lot, but he hasn't been scoring. So that's also something that has people frustrated. Not me, for example. I'm okay with that. He said it on the game after LAFC. He's like, yes, I'm not scoring, but at my age, I'm just, trying to help the team.
He's been in this position many times.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of the words.
So it's nothing bad. I do see rotations on the weekend, though.
He has. Let's be fair. He has been bad in front of net, but he's also in the beginning couple of games. Let's not forget. He had 4 total points in a single game against Houston.
And last year, if we compare it to last year, Suarez really, he's an older player. He's a player that his knees aren't at 100%. They're not even at 80%. So it kind of takes them a bit to, get to that 100% form. Yeah. And we saw it last year. He had a slow start last year as well. And then he just started going crazy.
It's not about season, though. 13 games, 4 goals, 6 assists.
I think it's just comparing
bad.
It's for his standards. Like, if we look at Luis Suarez's standards, he's not playing up to standards. I'm sure he's the first one that'll say it too.
Yeah. Within the league, absolutely. And a lot of those assists came against Houston, where he had 3 assists and a goal. Yeah. But nonetheless, still, I think a very serviceable player for Inter Miami. Still a player who I think is going to be up there on the goal count and the Golden Boot for the MLS at the end of the season. I'm interested to see how much Abondo is going to have an impact on this team, boys, because the game against Toronto sticks out to me a little bit. Yeah. I know that was 2 weeks ago, but the bad touch he took in the box, I feel like that was a bit of nerves. I feel like once he gets more acclimated to the team, he's going to be a much better striker as well.
On that, he took the bad touch, but at the same time, the Toronto center back, he got a touch on the ball too. So it's a 50-50 on that one. Mascherano talked about him today, saying he's going to take him slowly because he hasn't been playing a lot. He was like just waiting on the sides to sign for the team.
Right.
So he's gonna take it slow with him, but he's gonna play.
And at the end of the day, he's an 18-year-old who's coming to. This is probably his first time coming to the United States to live, and you're coming to a team where you're playing with Messi and Suarez.
The pressure is huge.
I'm sure anybody would feel the pressure.
Exactly. That's why I said let's give the kid a chance to acclimate before we throw him to the wolves. Inter Miami also 7 games played within the MLS. Them and New England both have 7 games played. The rest have 8, so they technically have a game in hand here. So they're sitting on the table on the Supporters' Shield at 5th and in the Eastern Conference at 4th. But realistically, boys, it's 3rd because FC Cincinnati and Charlotte are both tied at 16. However you want to, to put that.
Game in hand.
Yeah, I still think it's a great spot for Inter Miami. I think it's a really cool fixture coming up at Cleveland Browns Stadium. It's a cool place to play, boys. I've obviously been to
the dog pound, huh?
Hundreds of Browns games with my family having season tickets and covered the team for years. So, and I'm going to ask you guys the $1 million question that my buddies want to know up in Cleveland. Is Lionel Messi playing?
And I think,
can you guys debunk if Lionel Messi is going to play? I mean, listen, Columbus in first place. You think he might want to play?
It's crazy because us being so close to Inter Miami, we follow Inter Miami
have no
week
idea.
to week. We still have no idea.
I don't have idea. Like my buddies are hysterical. They go, Riz, you cover the team.
It's a well-kept secret.
Guys, I go, guys, I don't know until 25 minutes before every single game.
And that's another thing. The lineups, usually they come out an hour before.
Well, you know what? You can know if Messi plays if he promotes the game
there
on
is
his
a trend.
Instagram.
There is a trend.
So if he promotes the game on Instagram, he's playing.
There's a... he's kind of throwing hints
exactly.
out
so
there.
If you don't see a story from him,
he'll start hyping up the game.
Yeah, he is not going to play. But if he posts something, he's going to play. So for me, I think he's going to play tomorrow because you have the game on Thursday against Vancouver. I think he's going to play. I don't know if he's going to play the 90 minutes because, remember, you got to go to Vancouver on Thursday, and then you got to recover and then take on Dallas here.
I think it being Columbus, Columbus is a direct rival in the Eastern Conference. They're the only team, aside from Inter Miami, who's undefeated this season. So it's a big game. I understand it's an MLS game, and we have the midweek game. But, I mean, Columbus, I think you'll suit up for Columbus.
And the Crew, with being out of the CONCACAF Champions Cup, this is, I don't want to say this is their Super Bowl this year, boys, but the game's not in Columbus. It's at Premier Not saying that their stadium's not a premier location, boys, but you understand the point. Like, this is one of their
There's that added motivation.
Yeah, dude, there is.
Now just to add on Columbus, because they're a huge team right now, especially with Wilfred Nancy as a coach. They signed last week Daniel Gazak from Philadelphia, who's a new DP player.
He scored against Inter Miami.
Yeah, and that's a great signing right now.
And I heard they're not done. They want somebody else for the Club World Cup.
They're missing a striker. Well, we talked about that with Andres Agulla last week at the MLS commentator, and he said they're missing a striker, and they're going to go for it on the summer.
Yep, and Jacob Zivin, who I talked to, said the same exact stuff, boys. And he even mentioned that Columbus is on the level of quality with Inter Miami. They have the quality.
I would tend to agree. If we look at the team, not so much on paper, they don't have the players that Inter Miami has, but when you watch them play, they're a great constructed team, great coached, and they play organized soccer, which is always tough to play against.
Mm-hmm.
Inter Miami and the Columbus Crew coming up 4:30 in Cleveland. Myself, Elias Bustamante, and Damian Perez all have game day obligations. We're looking forward to this one. And boys, you guys know I'm a United fan, and I love Cristiano Ronaldo. Hang on.
Look at that smile.
Hold on. I love
such a bright smile.
Hang on. I got a little breaking news here. I love Cristiano Ronaldo. He's my favorite player ever. But I'll tell you what, Messi, from being close to the situation, Messi's starting to maybe overtake that a little bit. As I say that, let's go around the world. All right, speaking of my Red Devils, I mean, boys, I here's the issue. I told you guys, when I'm about, my dad, to kind of fill everybody in, my dad does what we do in Cleveland, boys. Mm-hmm. He's been doing it, 35 years, almost 40 years now. So I'm trying to think when maybe I will retire. My 70s, boys, I might be able to watch these games, these European weekday nights. I might be able to watch these games when I'm 70 years old. Or I'm going to be able to watch these games when I'm with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ up in heaven. Because I miss every single weekday game.
I mean, I don't know.
It's clockwork.
Or you can change the time of your show, though.
No, hey, listen.
or you can put we have
2
TVs in the studio.
Yeah.
You can put the game on and kind of just glance. I don't know how distracting it will be to the show.
Guys,
especially yesterday's game.
You know the kind of fan. I feel like you guys you kind of know the kind of fan I am.
Yeah.
If I have it on, like, I'm going to be completely so like I'm doing myself, the station,
the service,
and my good buddy and friend Colin Russo a justice to not
watch the game.
And it's funny because it was 2-0, and I texted my group chat, and it was the ultimate kiss of death. Manchester United, folks, was up 2-0 in the first half. After an Emmanuel Ugarte goal and a Diogo Dalot goal right before halftime. By the way, great off-bar goal by Dalot. I've been down on him.
Looked like a striker.
Yeah.
I've been down on him this year. That was an unbelievable finish. Still down on him, by the way. But at 2-0, I text my buddies because it was time to go on the show. I said, so this is the time of day where I check back in on the score and we lose 3-2 on aggregate 3-3 on aggregate.
Almost spoke it into
kicks.
Existence.
I literally almost put the kiss of death on this team. I come out, it's 2-2. I go, Elias, 2-2, seriously? He goes, yeah, he starts breaking down the game. I'm like, I get all pissed off, go back into the studio. Colin and I do about 2 more segments, walk back out. It's 4-2. And Leon has a red card.
Not a red card, though. That's not a foul. Nowhere in the
Never
world.
a red card?
That was not a red card.
That was not a red
It was
card.
a second yellow, by the
Yeah,
way.
that's not a yellow, though.
Hey, boys, you there? That's always a red card at Old Trafford. I'm going to need you to wake up. But then it's 4-2 with the red card. And I looked at you guys. I said, manager's got to go. I said, you got to. And Elias is like, Riz, it's not. He's trying to make his case for Amorim. I didn't want to hear any of it. Boys, in no world, it's 2-2, and you go down to 10 men. You can't lose that game. You can't lose that game. And granted, they didn't, so fair play to them. But let me finish the point. I leave all my group chats, all my soccer boys, and I almost left our West Palm FC group chat. I was so upset. I didn't want to see any more of it. I left 2 of my group chats, and my buddy Pat called me because he was listening to my show, and he knew I was in a break. He goes, Mike, swear to God, we're not trolling you. They just won 5-4. And I run out here, and I see Harry Maguire celebrating after the game. Harry Maguire, the same Harry Maguire that my buddy Sean, fellow United fan, was scorning to death, basically, because one of the goals was his fault. He didn't step up and this and that. Boys, to score 3 goals in 6 minutes. So Bruno had the penalty at 1:14 to make it 4-3. Kobe Mainu with, boys,
beautiful goal.
That finesse goal was unbelievable. To change positions in the box, too, to change his position in the box and to get that shot
with
off.
Very limited space, too.
That's messy stuff. Like, obviously, Kobe Mainu, boys, isn't the player or position Lionel Messi is, but the way that he got that shot off is Messi-esque. And then the Harry Maguire, oh, my God. He called for it, too. If you watch the replay, Maguire's in the box. He's looking at Bruno. Dude, put that in the air. Put that in the air.
He was way taller than everybody in the box. It's like he had a feeling. And it's not really Elias and I. It's more you. You've been bashing Amorim all season.
Well, yeah, because
he's the one that made that tactical change. He's the one that said, Maguire,
fair enough,
go to striker, and I don't know, poach whatever you can. And sure enough, that's what happened.
Fair enough. And
you got your best striker playing as a center back.
I honest to God, boys, was calling for Amorim's head down 4-2, 10 men. I said, you got to fire him. I said, how are you? This is the only competition that matters at this point. The Premier League means nothing. You're not going to get relegated at this point. Obviously, you'd like to win the games rather than lose the games. But these games mean a lot more. So, like, if you're out of this competition, and the way
it's all you got.
The way you would lose, too, being down to 10, I mean, God, I would have been thinking about it before I went to bed, honestly. I would have been so angry about it.
You want to hear your coach right now? He says we need to go all in.
Let's take a listen.
The sound of the 2 last goals were amazing, and that is something that we can keep for the future. It was a good feeling, but in the end of the game, you go to the semifinals, but you need to win it. If you go to the semifinals, you don't win it, it's the same feeling. So we just need to focus on the next stage and try to win the competition.
Now, can I be honest with you guys right now? You know who is your team, right? Like who you're going to play against.
It's Athletic Club, and
It's
and we got the
Bilbao.
wrong end. Let's put it this way: we got the wrong end of the draw because I believe, boys, I always say their name wrong, but
Bodo
Glim.
I mean, that's a
Bodo
tough. I
Glimt.
don't know if you've seen
That's
their
a
home
tough
stadium.
team.
That's a tough place to go and
Yeah.
play. It's in the Arctic Circle.
Yes.
But Lazio blew it. I mean,
Yeah.
they scored. What did Lazio scored 3 goals?
It was
yesterday.
3-0. It
Yeah.
was 3-0,
Bodo
and then they scored the one.
and they
goal.
lost.
Play really well.
Yeah,
they
and
play really well, and you guys are gonna have a very, very tough game against Bilbao.
Is Nico Williams available for that team?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
he's
Most
playing.
Williams
I believe
are-
he scored a few goals
Hey,
in this series.
The most dangerous guys on that team are
Inaki.
Nico, Iñaki, Sunset, and then you have a great center back and a goalkeeper with Unai Simon.
Yeah,
as a
I mean,
goalkeeper, and
boys,
Vivian.
if I'm being honest, they're 4th on the La Liga table, and I always say that's a top-heavy league with like the top 5 teams. I don't expect United to win this fixture, but the way that I think with Amorim and the state of the club, I think that was really big. I think that's big for momentum. That's big for the fan base. I
Morale.
mean, you mentioned Amorim said something that stuck out to me in that sound clip. Guys, the noise from that stadium. That was the loudest I've heard it maybe since Sir Alex.
I mean,
Ferguson.
let's be honest.
I'm being completely honest.
When's
I say
the
that.
last time you can remember that Manchester United had such a great moment at Old Trafford?
Long time.
It's been a
Well,
very long time.
Here's my issue with that. I understand the point. What was it? 2 years ago, we were 3rd on the Premier League and went to Champions
Yeah,
League.
but that was a whole season. I'm
But
talking about moments where like you see people
true.
crying.
True.
Like I don't know if you saw the videos from
Oh,
after the
dude,
game of
trust
people
me.
reacting. Like
you sent it to the chat.
people fall in love with those moments. Like
Yeah,
those are moments
it's-
that people just like. It's like a what's it called? A core memory.
Yeah,
That's definitely a core memory for a lot of fans.
Honest to God, almost got teary-eyed watching the highlights
You
with
saw the
Maguire.
video of a little boy, right?
Yeah,
he was like crying.
He was
and
crying
he was
at
happy.
the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just the the ebbs and flows of that game. You're up 2-0. You think you're in control. You concede 2 goals. You give up the penalty to Lacazette. They go down to 10 men, and they're still able to score goals. I mean, the topsy-turviness of that game, you're going to have a heart attack watching this team. You're going to have a heart attack watching this Manchester United team. But back to the momentum thing. Like, if they take the momentum from this game and are able to beat a team, and I told you already, I don't think they're going to beat Athletic Club because I think Athletic Club has a lot more quality. But I think Bruno Fernandes is the best player in the fixture, but they have more quality. And I think Nico Williams is probably going to be one of the better players in the world a few years down the line. But if they're able to take momentum and beat Athletic Club, I don't care who's in that final. I think they win.
I
think if they win this fixture,
that's the
they
sentiment. I think that's the sentiment after this win against Lyon. I mean, who cares who's in front of us after we won in that kind of fashion?
Should be. You should be.
I don't see how.
I know how this United team operates. It's like, boys, there's no consistency with this club. I mean, maybe outside of this competition, and fair play to them in the games they've been able to win in
but
this
this has to be the
competition.
shift. This has to be the shift. If
But-
this isn't the shift, then I don't know what
Boys,
will
how
be.
many times have you seen United go up and then just completely fall? Like, this is stemming 3 managers. We could go back to old Gunner, okay? We could go back all the way back to old Gunner. I mean, it's like, how many times are you up 2-0 in the 90th minute or in the 80th minute? Both of those goals came from 70 to 79.
But that's soccer.
like, my God,
that's
man.
soccer. That's soccer.
Yeah,
And
but it's Manchester United in a nutshell, blowing fixtures and not being able to get results late in games.
I think
That's our MO.
the way you guys
I'm
won,
sick of it.
the way you guys won is far more beautiful and emotional than if you guys would have kept that game as 2-0 and advanced easily.
Oh,
100%.
God, I'd rather have kept it at 2-0 and advanced, but
We
regardless.
wouldn't be talking about it the way
I
we
know
are.
we wouldn't have been talking
It'd
about
just
it,
be
boys,
another
but
win,
wouldn't
you
be
know?
as happy as you are right
Congratulations.
now.
At the same time, guys, that's not sustainable. Do you get what I'm saying, right?
No,
Winning like
it's-
that is not sustainable.
it's not sustainable,
And for
but-
an inconsistent club with not a lot of quality on the
It's
team.
not sustainable, but you know what? I think you need that type of wins from time to time.
Barcelona, when they came back on PSG, what did they do? They won the Champions League. If
But-
I'm not mistaken, that year.
No, you
They
guys
lost
lost
it.
it.
Like,
Damn it.
boys, we're
Well, you can use Liverpool for example, who
Yes,
lost
Liverpool when
against you guys 3-0.
when they came
4-1.
back on Barcelona, what happened to Liverpool after that? It didn't matter who was in their way. That comeback kind of fueled that
Yeah.
whole campaign.
like the thing that drives me nuts with United, and maybe they are a different team when the European nights are here, but to be 14th in the Premier League and to be worried about a relegation battle for the team next year is crazy. Like, I'm worried about a relegation battle next year. I don't see
come
this.
on.
I don't see
Come
this.
on.
I don't see this project getting any better. And
Relegation battle?
Dude,
No, come on.
right now, you have 38 points. All right, West Ham is at 17th with 35. Thank God. Thank. This is the second time I've mentioned my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Thank God that Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton are 3 of the worst teams I've ever seen in the Premier League.
I think you have to put some faith in Amorim. I understand the Premier League wasn't.
If they bring back the same, like who is he going to get rid of players? Like if they win a trophy, if they win Europa League, are they still going to get rid of the players that they maybe plan on getting rid of the players?
Yes, I think he has a project in mind. I think he came into Manchester United with a project in mind. He didn't want to come this season. He wanted to come at the end of the season. I think he's got a project in mind. He's got a plan.
I have not seen enough from the Obi kid. And the little that I've seen, I'm a little excited for him. But Patrick Dorgu might be one of the worst signings I've seen.
He had a good game yesterday.
Yeah. Come on, man.
He had a good game.
We're lucky. He had a turnover that any team with quality would finish in the first half.
Again, you have to give him time. He's 20 years old. He just came from Italy all the way to the Premier League. Just give him time. You need time right now. You need patience. Like, if you're expecting trophies next year, you're mistaken.
Vinicius was atrocious his first season at Real Madrid.
Yeah,
atrocious.
Just give him time.
Couldn't even juggle the ball at his presentation.
It's just it stinks because
not everybody can be a Messi or Lamine Yamal at 19 and just ball on the game. You can't just wait on that.
I think he'll grow. And I think Amorim is a good coach that can kind of instill the confidence in these young players.
So, boys, United, they win obviously 5-4. Harry Maguire, the hero at the end of the game. Some of those, crowd roars. Reminiscent.
I was very happy
Alex
for Maguire. I got to be honest.
Well, people blamed him for the goal, and he's been a scapegoat for 10 years
yes,
on
he's
that
been
club.
a scapegoat for the past, I can't even remember, since he joined the club.
I got to say, he single-handedly lost us Europa League last year with Sevilla.
Yeah, he didn't.
The Sevilla game and the own goals, he single-handedly. Hang on, you were up 2-0 at home. Again, this is the 90th minute stuff I'm talking about with United that goes back 15 years since Ferguson. In the 90th minute, you blow a 2-0 lead, and it's 2-2 on the aggregate, and then you get blown out in Spain. So
he hasn't helped his case. He hasn't helped his case, but I think in this moment, this year, this tournament at the Europa League, I think Maguire has kind of I wouldn't say earned respect, but stepped up.
So
definitely.
you guys would get Elias, you'd give the edge to United in this tournament.
I think after that win, yes, they're my favorite to win it.
Okay, so Damien, you think they beat Athletic Club?
I don't care who they're playing against. That's my point. God, it could be anybody.
Don't get my hopes up, man.
After the win that they had, after the emotions that they're on, the high that they're on, I just don't see how you lose that.
Don't get my hopes up.
I give you the edge because you're gonna have the second game at home.
And Athletic Club, they still have to maintain their position in La Liga, whereas Manchester United, they can kind of,
we're done in the league. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely bomb it. You guys are done. What are you guys playing for?
It doesn't matter.
What's Manchester United playing for?
Oh yeah, that's right. This coach can't coach in the Premier League. We have 10 wins, 8 draws, 14 losses. 10 wins, 8 draws, 14 losses. We're sitting at 14th on the table. So you guys make fun of me when I say I'm worried about a relegation battle next year. You are lucky that Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton are a championship team.
4 wins, respectively.
It's terrible.
For Southampton.
It's terrible. And Manchester United are equally as bad. How about Tottenham, too?
Yeah.
It's going to be a final, though. Imagine that final, Tottenham, Manchester United.
Is Europa League a disgrace?
No.
Is it a disgrace if you have Manchester United, who's 14th on the English table, and Tottenham, that's 15th on the English table right now?
It's not a disgrace. It shows you that at the end, even though those teams are in the bad part of the Premier League
how
table,
does that happen?
They are very competitive teams.
So is Fulham and Bournemouth winning the Europa League too?
They will have a run for their money, yes.
That's what makes me upset. You understand why I'm upset? Because you are so terrible in the Premier League. You can't get a friggin' result in the Premier League. And then you go over to Europa and you're like a completely different team.
Would you agree that Manchester United is in a sort of rebuild?
Yeah, I think it's going to last a couple of years here.
But that's why you can't be so hard on them in the first year. I think next year
guys, 14th on the table with 600 with $1 billion basically. £1 billion put into players is unacceptable.
But you're in the final 4 of Europa League.
Yeah, but what do you want them? You want them to be like in the 4th position? I'd
rather compete in the league. I'd rather consistently compete in the Premier League.
But being
it's something we haven't been able to do
consistently.
We haven't been able to do it consistently for 20 years.
You just wanted to see. You want to see it on the field. You want to see it on the pitch.
Years, probably like 10 years.
Since 13, my years are gone.
Yeah,
we won with Fergie. We won with 12 years. 12 years ago, we won with Fergie in 13, my senior year.
Yeah, but at the end, remember, you won this competition with Mourinho, and you had a great team with Solskjaer,
Lukaku and company.
with
Rashford was playing well.
With Ole, you want to win the Champions League. So I think you're being too harsh with your team right now because what you have available, it might not be at the level you want them to be. But you have to give them time.
I just see you gotta compete in your league. That's all I'm saying. You gotta be able to compete in your league.
Compete in your league. But when you're going to Europe, it's different. Like you go, for example, you see Arsenal. Whenever they play in the Premier League, you see all the teams having a low block, and then you go in Champions League, and all those teams are playing. Like they're playing. So they're playing.
What I'm saying.
Open up.
So you said we don't have the team, and I agree with you. That's a disgrace that you don't have the team after the money you spend. I can't stomach that. I can't stomach that this
because
Manchester United
signings.
Team. I can't stomach that you spent $1 billion. You wasted $1 billion. You wasted $1 billion on players that are terrible. All right, let's move on to Arsenal. By the way, United won. I know it doesn't sound like United won in the Europa League, 5-4. We're playing Athletic Club in the semifinals, and hopefully going to be hoisting.
That's a fan who's been through a lot in the recent years.
This has been the longest football season of my life, boys. I mean, it's been the toughest one. I mean, I became a fan of the club in 2007, of Manchester United. I became a fan of the club in 2007 when I was 12 years old. Okay, I'm 30. 18 years watching soccer. This has been the toughest year of my life watching this team. Let's do a little Arsenal here, boys. I know we're up against it kind of time-wise. Let's do a little Arsenal here, though. My reaction, and my friends know, I am no Arsenal supporter. It's a little shameful that I sports hate Arsenal more than the likes of Liverpool and City. I just think it's because a lot of my friends are Arsenal fans, and they've been just the loudest lot the recent years. I got nothing bad to say about that team right now. Usually I'm sitting here, you're going to blow it. You know. Dude, that's a team of destiny. I told you that. Going into that Real fixture, Damian Perez, I told you on Saturday tailgate, I thought that Arsenal was a team of destiny.
And I don't want to
really are.
I don't want to take anything away from Arsenal. I think beating Real Madrid twice is a great accomplishment, especially in the Bernabeu. I'm not taking anything away from Arsenal. I think they've had a great run in the Champions League. But I think the point here is Real Madrid. Whatever Real Madrid is doing is not working. In the offseason, they signed Kylian Mbappe. Everybody thought this was a no-brainer. It was just a drop them in. It's going to work. It's not working. Mm-hmm. It's not working. And the one who's taking the fall is Ancelotti, who has won them 2 Champions League in a row, being the last 2 Champions League.
Does he want to come to United? I'll give him a morum.
I don't know what it is.
You want to kill him?
But
I'll give him a morum.
All I keep hearing is how this was Ancelotti's fault, and Ancelotti should be out. Now, we shouldn't even wait till the end of the season. Well, and I think that's absolutely disgraceful.
Elias, they could have a morum. I'll take Ancelotti at United.
I mean, honestly, no. Honestly, with what happened with Real Madrid is not only Ancelotti, it's the team. They don't have a balanced team.
It's the team.
They don't have a balanced team. That's the issue.
It's the egos. It's the egos. Yeah. You got Vinicius playing on the left, and Mbappe playing as striker, and Mbappe clearly wants to play on the left.
I'm telling you right now, it might be an unpopular opinion. One of those front
We've been
3,
saying
4
it. We've been
is
saying
going out
it.
in the summer.
Well,
have to sell one of the 2.
Here's my issue.
And you're not going to sell Mbappe.
Rodrigo basically a non-factor in that Arsenal fixture. Vinicius Jr., a non-factor outside of that. Vinny is so funny. You guys, I know I love.
I think he's got to go. I think Vinny's got to go.
Yeah,
he could come to United. You guys know I love Vinny. He scored that goal against Arsenal, and he acted like he tied the game. His celebrations and stuff.
That's kind of what he brings.
Boys, this reminds me a lot of right now. I'm going to give a correlation, and Real Madrid is not as bad as the level of this team in their respectable sport, but the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns had Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. 3 pretty big stars within the NBA. I'd probably put Rodrigo on the level.
There's a big difference, though.
Right. Hang on. I'd probably put Rodrigo on the level of Beal. I'd probably put Vinicius Jr. on the level of
Booker.
Yep. And then Mbappe on the level of Durant. Just because you get 3 stars, and listen, Jude Bellingham, and I know Jude's probably arguably the best player on the team, but you get those 3 guys, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes the stars don't mesh, and you got to move on. Now, I kind of poo-pooed you guys when you told me, Riz, you might need to get rid of one of these guys. I'm starting to be convinced that, if you bring in a guy like Kylian Mbappe, who plays very much like Vinicius Jr., and they're not going to sit here and kind of absorb and get into their role of the team. Like, none of them wanted to be the 9.
Yeah.
That was the problem early on in the year. No one wanted to be the 9. I think Mbappe has to do what Cristiano Ronaldo did. You have to play striker, bro. You got to play striker. There comes to a point where you have to play striker. On this team, Mbappe is the striker. Like, they need to let Vinicius come off the corner on the left. They need to let Rodrigo come off the corner on the right, and they need to centralize Mbappe. I think that's if you want to keep these guys, that's what's going to happen.
Well, you know what's going to happen?
That's what's going to happen.
They're going to sell probably they're going to sell Vinicius. They're going to sell Vinicius. They're going to bring a right back. They're going to bring a center mid. They're going to put Mbappe on the left, and they're going to bring a striker. That's what they're going to do. Number 9.
You know what? The formula, the thing that has worked with Real Madrid, when Ronaldo was there as striker with Benzema, what did Benzema do? His whole career at Real Madrid was for the team, was to assist Ronaldo and whoever was attacking. He was not a goal-scoring striker. I just don't see Vinicius taking that step back. Coming off of runner-up at Ballon d'Or, he's been at Real Madrid basically his entire career. He's won 2 Champions League, 2 straight. I just don't see how Mbappe coming in will resort into him taking a step back. I just don't see the humility.
Who's more of a scapegoat, Vinny or Mbappe?
I think it's Ancelotti. The Ancelotti's the fool.
No, right now it's Mbappe. Right now it's Mbappe.
I'm with Elias on this.
When you mention scapegoat, what do you mean, though? Like, who takes the blame for the catastrophe?
Here's my thing. Who just said Vinicius has been here and won 2 championships? Was that you? 310 matches. The guy's 105 goals at the club.
But then why did you bring Mbappe?
Listen, that's why I said it's probably more on Mbappe right now. You're the new guy on the team. You got to figure out how you're going to mesh.
Let's be real here. You really think Real Madrid?
And I love Mbappe. I'm a huge Mbappe guy.
If it comes down between Mbappe and Vinicius, you really think Fiorentino's going to sell Mbappe before selling
sell Vinicius?
100%.
Plus, I think with Vinicius they're talking more about Vinicius outside of the field than inside on his game.
There's more extracurricular.
So as a Real Madrid player, and like Florentino seeing him, he's like, you know what? This guy, even though he's one of the best players in the world, as for us, as our club, as institution, he's not the best representation we can have outside the field.
I find it crazy that, and granted, I'm just a peon who does sports radio. Get out of your own ways. Get together. Don't you want to figure this thing out? Don't you see the opportunity? Like, if you're Real Madrid, the opportunity that you have is crazy.
It's not going to work.
The opportunity that you have to make this work. But
Reese, I'm telling you, like
the egos are too large.
This game on Wednesday.
Are we sure it's just not like it?
The game on Wednesday and the game from last week, there was no tactics, no pressure. The team, like you saw the stats, they run less than Arsenal.
Riz.
Like they had nothing. They were like playing on the power of friendship and things like that. Like, you can't win a game like that.
Arsenal doesn't have a striker, and they scored 5 goals on Real Madrid, 2 in El Bernabeu. This is not a problem where you can look at the coach, where you can look at the team. This is a problem where the locker room is just divided. On the field, there's no chemistry. And this goes far beyond just Vinicius and Mbappe. Bellingham, too. I saw Bellingham lose a ball in the first half and make a gesture and kind of jog back while the other team was on a counter. Those kinds of things, you can't have that when you're playing Champions League, especially in a semifinal.
Rice ate Bellingham twice.
Yep.
I think Bellingham is a bit overrated. I got to say it. I think Bellingham this season
has a lot of my buddies have that take as well.
He is very overrated.
He's world class, but he's getting to the overrated part right now.
Well, I think it's because of how bad the club. Like right now, to your guys' point, the Real Madrid is 4 points behind Barcelona in La Liga. They're out of Champions League. And certainly things aren't looking good. And, who's going to play well on those standards? And you said how toxic things are, too.
You could see it. The players, they gesture to each other. They complain with each other. I mean, the chemistry is just not there. I don't know if the humility is there. I think the egos are getting in the way of this Real Madrid team.
So, boys, quickly, a little pitch preview coming up this weekend. You got a Premier League slate. Aston Villa and Newcastle's a huge fixture.
Huge game.
For that Champions League spot, the final 4th spot. I'd probably say that's the biggest game of the weekend. Now, Manchester City is at Everton. That's another big one as well. And then some La Liga action. You got Atletico on the road to Las Palmas, and I'm trying to get to the matchups. I believe Sunday is when Real Madrid and company play.
Atletico Bilbao. That's a huge game at the Bernabeu.
Yep. You got Real Madrid against the Athletic Club. And then I believe Barcelona Monday or the week off. Did they already play? Did Barca already play?
Barcelona will be playing tomorrow against
Saturday.
Celta Vigo. Yeah, 10:15. Italy, if you guys follow the Serie A, they're going to have a great game. Milan is going to play against Atalanta on the weekend. On Sunday, that's a huge game. I'm looking forward to that one too. And I don't know. Well, this is me, though. Damian, you might appreciate this game too. Brentford Brighton is a great game too, because those teams are fighting to get into like mid-table, going into Europe. That's a good game.
I couldn't tell you who wins that game, to be honest.
Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, that's a good game too if you want to watch it. I'll keep an eye also on United Wolves. Wolves has been playing very well.
Where they scored
lately.
4 goals? They scored 4 goals in their last fixture?
4 goals, and they have been 4 wins in a row right now.
Yep.
So watch out for that game.
And I remember there were conversations about them possibly getting relegated a couple of months back in January. I feel like their season turned around when they beat United at home.
Yeah.
Quickly, last thing for me. Milan, 9th on the table. Unbelievable. That's my Italian team. Out of Champions League, 9th on the table. Going to be out of Europe next year. They got my guy Puligoat. Love Pulisic, but my teams can't catch a break. So at the Atletico Madrid's pretty decent. AC Milan's had a bad year, and Manchester United, the number 1 is United, guys.
So your teams are, I just want to know, so your teams are Milan, United, and
Atletico,
and
I can't root for Real.
And the NFL is the Browns?
Correct.
You like to have a bad time. You love to have a bad time.
AC Milan has been quality for years, and
like, it's like you like to suffer.
My dad. The reason I'm a big Milan guy, my dad would watch the likes of Milan like when we were younger, when he was
Dida, goalkeeper.
Yeah,
that's a nice team.
They were a fun team.
Nice
and then my team that I would always play in FIFA growing up is Robinho, Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, that was a nice team.
That was a fun club. But all right, boys. Appreciate it. A lot of fun here on West Palm FC. Folks, hit subscribe. Turn those notifications on to let you know when we release our next episode. We'll be back next week. We'll be breaking down a little Inter Miami. They're playing the Columbus Crew. We'll be breaking down that matchup. Is Messi going to play? Us 3 think yes up there in Cleveland this weekend. We'll catch up with you guys next week. See you. Bye.